The Chicago Bears just got rocked by a legitimate retirement bombshell that has completely blindsided the city and left the offensive line in total, absolute shambles. Our Pro Bowl center, Drew Dalman, is walking away from the game at just 27 years old, leaving a massive, gaping hole right in the middle of Caleb Williams' protection. This isn't just a minor roster tweak. This is a devastating, soul-crushing blow to a position we finally thought was locked down for the next decade. We are talking about a guy who was the literal glue of this unit, and now, in the blink of an eye, the foundation is gone. Before we dive into the absolute chaos of how the front office fixes this disaster and look at the names already flying around Halas Hall, do me a huge favor and hit that like button, share this video with every Bears fan you know, and subscribe right now so you never miss a breaking update on our team during this wild off-season. Can you actually believe we are back in the market for a center after only 1 year of stability? It feels like we are cursed at this position. Seriously, since Olin Kreutz hung them up over a decade ago, the center spot in Chicago has been a revolving door of mediocrity and what-ifs. We thought the cycle was over. We thought Drew Dalman was the answer. I know some people on social media are losing their minds right now, yelling at their screens and acting frustrated with Dalman for quitting, only 1 year into a 3-year, $42 million contract. But let's be real for a second. Football is a brutal, violent, unforgiving business. Drew Dalman is a guy who takes a subconcussive hit on every single snap of the game. If he sat down with his family, looked at his future, and decided his long-term health and his brain are more important than a paycheck, who are we to judge him? I don't blame him one bit for choosing his life over a game, but from a purely football-obsessed perspective, this news absolutely stinks. There's no other way to put it. Dalman wasn't just a physical presence, he was the cerebral assassin of that offensive line. His ability to handle complex pre-snap identifications, making sure every blitz was picked up and helping Caleb Williams set the protection, was a massive reason why our young superstar QB made such huge strides last year. Remember how many times Caleb was sacked as a rookie? 68 times. Then Dalman shows up, anchors the middle, and that number drops to 24. That isn't a coincidence. Now, that safety net is gone. Head coach Ben Johnson's offense relies heavily on a high IQ center who can set the table for the run game and the pass protection. Finding someone who can replicate Dalman's mental game on such short notice is going to be an absolute nightmare for Ryan Poles. Question of the day: who is your top choice to replace Drew Dalman as the anchor of this offensive line? Should we break the bank for a superstar like Tyler Linderbaum or find a solid veteran like Tyler Biadasz for cheap? Let me know your gut reaction in the comments below. The rumors are already flying at a mile a minute, and the biggest name on the radar, the one making everyone's heart race, is Tyler Linderbaum. Word coming out of the NFL Combine is that the Bears front office has been sniffing around his availability for a while now. Honestly, on paper, Linderbaum might even be an upgrade. He's younger, incredibly athletic, and a total beast in the run game. He's the kind of player you build an entire identity around. But here is the massive, $25 million catch. The price tag is astronomical. Reports are suggesting Linderbaum is looking for a market-setting deal worth $25 million per year. If the Baltimore Ravens are already offering him $20 million and he's still looking for more, do we really want to sink that much capital into a single interior spot? Think about the math here. We still have to pay Darnell Wright a massive extension soon. We've already got huge money tied up in Jonah Jackson and Joe Thuney at the guard spots. If we drop $25 million on Linderbaum, you can basically say goodbye to any hope of trading for a defensive powerhouse like Max Crosby. You simply can't afford to fix every hole on the roster if you overpay for one star at center, no matter how good he is. However, there is a silver lining in this dark cloud. Because Drew Dalman is retiring, he's forfeiting a huge chunk of his salary, which is expected to save the Bears roughly $10 million in immediate cap space for 2026. That is a nice, juicy chunk of change that could be pivoted toward a much more realistic, veteran replacement. And that brings us to the name everyone is talking about today, Tyler Biadasz. The Washington Commanders recently cut him in a move that shocked a lot of people, which means he is a free agent right now. He doesn't have to wait for the official start of free agency. And this is the big part for you cap nerds out there. He doesn't count against the compensatory pick formula. Biadasz was a top 12 center last year according to the PFF experts, and he's been rock solid ever since his days starting for the Dallas Cowboys. He's 28 years old, right in his prime, and brings a wealth of experience. If Ryan Poles can land Biadasz on a short-term, 2-year deal for maybe $7 or $8 million a year, we actually come out ahead in the cap game. We save money compared to Dalman's contract and still get a guy who is arguably even better in pass protection. Sure, he might not be the same road grader in the run game that Dalman was, and we don't know if he has that same genius-level football IQ, but he's a proven winner. To me, that is the smart, disciplined play. You get a veteran starter who knows the league, you save significant money, and you keep your flexibility to go out and land a superstar pass rusher to pair with Montez Sweat. Let's look at the bigger picture for a second. This move creates a wrinkle in everything the Bears were planning this March. We already have a question mark at left tackle with Aussie Trapilo likely out for the season with that knee injury. Now you've got a hole at center. That is 2 out of 5 spots on the line that are currently to be determined. For a team that is trying to build a championship window around Caleb Williams, that is a scary place to be. But this is why we hired Ben Johnson. This is why we trust Ryan Poles. They've shown they can be aggressive when they need to be, and they've shown they can find value in the margins. Is it possible the Bears have known about this for a few days? You have to assume so. NFL teams are rarely blindsided by news this big without some sort of heads-up from the players' camp. The fact that Tyler Biadasz is already reportedly set for a visit to Halas Hall tells you that the Bears have a plan. They aren't sitting around crying about the loss of Dalman, they are already hunting for the next man up. If you told me today that we could sign Biadasz for single-digit millions and use the extra $10 million we saved from Dalman to go out and get Max Crosby or another elite edge rusher, I would take that deal in a heartbeat. It turns a devastating loss into a strategic pivot. How are you feeling right now? Are you worried that the chemistry Caleb Williams built with his center is gone? Or do you think this is a blessing in disguise that frees up the money we need to fix the defense? I want to see a war in the comments. Give me your best takes. The reality is, Drew Dalman gave us a Pro Bowl season and helped reset the culture of our offensive line. We wish him nothing but the best in his retirement. He's a Bear for life in our books for what he did for Caleb's development. But the NFL waits for no one. The draft is right around the corner, free agency is about to explode, and the Chicago Bears are officially the most interesting team in the league right now. We are going to keep tracking every single visit, every contract rumor, and every trade whisper as they happen. If Tyler Biadasz signs tonight, you'll hear it here first. If the Linderbaum rumors get real, we'll break down the film. Stay locked in, stay passionate, and most importantly, stay hopeful. This front office has earned our trust over the last year, and I truly believe they are going to turn this bombshell into a masterclass of roster management. We've been through worse as Bears fans, and we've come out stronger. Let's see if Ryan Poles has one more rabbit to pull out of his hat to keep this Super Bowl window propped wide open. Would you like me to analyze the specific film on Tyler Biadasz and compare his blocking win rates to Drew Dalman so we can see exactly what kind of player the Bears might be getting?